Joe Biden could possibly be the first indictment?
Well, if they arrest Lee Harvey Biden...
Yeah, you got that one, did you?
Yeah, if they arrest Lee Harvey Biden first, it would make perfect sense. But there's three names that would shake the world. One is, of course, Lee Harvey Biden. If he goes by Biden, everything's going to change. I see the Pope is now talking about putting on his man pants and coming to Canada and apologizing for the rape and murder of tens of thousands of Indigenous women and children in Canada. They want to come and apologize. I think a great apology would be if they strung up every single priest in Canada by the neck with nice purple rope.
Yeah, and we're not sure as long ago as that happened that he wasn't one of them.
Well, yeah, he has a long reputation. He is the Pope has a child with the woman who is the head of the World Monetary Fund. The gray-haired woman.
Yeah, but here's where we get into the occult and child sacrifice. Is that this Pope is the first and only Jesuit Pope. Yeah. And the Jesuits, as you know, have an occult background. They were formed as the assassins and soldiers of the Catholic Church, which is why they've never had a Jesuit Pope. This Pope does not wear the ring. You can't kiss his ring. The Pope that retired has the ring. So he's not really the real Pope, whatever way you want to cut it. But take a look at the Jesuits and their connection to Canada. It was Jesuit priests that came over with the first settlers, which is why the natives here slaughtered them for good reason. And they've got a very occult background.
I'm having an EKG done while this is taking place.
Oh, that's exciting.
Sensors on me.
That's very exciting. You can give us a blow-by-blow on that.
Sure. I'll give the readout to your audience.
There you go. Well, how do you guys look? I'm not saying this is it or what, but how do you guys feel about, and look, at this point, there's a lot of, I don't know whether it's getting us ready for it or whether it's fake or what, but there's a lot of talk about JFK Jr. here. So I don't know about that either, but a lot of weird stuff is coming out. So how do you guys feel? Just, speculating, just for fun, about the hold on, about the possibility of either JFK Jr. Being vice president or Flynn being vice president. Got any feelings about that?
I do. I think JFK Jr. is vice president because he was a Democrat, but he would appeal to everyone.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be Trump with JFK Jr. and then after that, President JFK.
Well,
I guess he's not junior anymore because when JFK died, he became just JFK.
Yeah.
So that's why Q said that JFK Jr. is not alive because it's JFK now.
Well, are you guys on the same team as far as this thought goes?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think we are.
Okay.
I think we are.
I just had my EKG and I'm alive.
Oh, good. Well, if you were dead, you would be the liveliest dead person I'd ever talked to.
I had a letter from a gentleman who from New Jersey, and he sent me a couple of letters, and one of the letters he sent me was. I'm just trying to remember the contents because I got a lot of letters, and I want to thank everyone who's been writing me and supporting me. It's been wonderful. This gentleman wrote me and told me that somebody that he had a connection to was police officer, I believe. And there was, on July 12th, there was a dispatch across the radio that Trump and Kennedy were leaving the Capitol building, after which both of the beasts drove down Pennsylvania Boulevard. And that would suggest to me, if that information is correct, that in fact John F. Kennedy Jr. is alive, and I certainly hope and pray that he is. I've talked before about that I had the pleasure of playing golf with his service technician the weekend before the plane crash in Ogdensburg, New York. And if he's alive and he has been selected by Donald Trump to be the next vice president, I think that would be wonderful. I don't know, though, that any of this could have taken place, because I know that if they've dissolved the corporation and Joe or Lee Harvey Biden is the president of the defunct corporation, I don't know how legally they would reinitiate the Republic, and whereby Mr. Trump would be the 19th president of the Republic. It may very well have taken place, or it may be something that is yet to take place.
Well, remember when the president, because I distinctly remember this, when he was elected, but I think even as he was running, he kept introducing his legal team. And it was huge. And he kept saying many, many more. He had the best lawyers. And I think that's key to this whole thing, is this team of attorneys, constitutional, I'm sure many of them, but also legal, everything. Because that's part of the way they have been able to accomplish this, is by just infiltrating the legal system the way they have. It's disgusting. And nobody gets any justice. I know I don't have to tell you, Guy.
Well, it's taken me a while. I mean, when I went through I had to throw myself into the machine here in order to address the issue of my kidnapped child and the murder of my nephew, Matthew Stakos. And I had thought, because I expressed to you this morning, I had a conversation with the spouse of a Superior Court judge who's an honorable justice. I thought that somewhere along the line I'm going to run into an honorable justice who's going to, say, well, wait a minute here, because their reputations are on the line too as to what they do. You realize that there was three pillars to the stool. There was the financial, which they already had. There was the spiritual, which they control the Vatican, and then there was the military. But the financial end also controls the legal end. So I know Norm and I have talked about this, and a lot of people are aware of this, that in 2001, the House of Barons enacted Article 61 of the Magna Carta, which essentially suspended the Crown's authority in Canada. The Crown doesn't have any authority in Canada. They're operating as a de facto court system and treating all Canadians as though we're corporate entities. We have our name in all caps on all our documents because they're treating us as corporate entities. But what they've done is they infiltrated. You have a legion of pedophiles in the Catholic Church and the other churches, which are all offshoots of the same tentacles of the octopus. So they have that pedophile empire, and of course they use pedophilia to control them in an extortion covenant circumstance. And then the legal system, which is essentially the Crown's pedophile empire. Well, every time you turn around in Canada anymore, whoever is the head of our armed forces is stepping down because of sexual misconduct. But the other thing that people don't realize, and this is the big thing, I wish we had a copy of the future message from President Donald J. Trump meme, the black one, because he says that most of the world media has been under indictment for RICO, or organized crime, because the fake news that President Trump often spoke of, and in Canada, and may have prima facie evidence of it here in Canada, and if we ever drop it, it'll be the end of our news agency. Our news agencies all across the world are controlled by a central feed, and they are all telling you propaganda. It's all lies.
it's disgusting.
Well, there are lots of videos of various news anchors using the exact same phrases.
Comes from the Trilateral Commission and the wires, the AP Wire and Reuters News Network both come out of Toronto. They both come out of John Tory's brother runs it. They took over from Roy Thompson, the Thompson Reuters News Network. All of the propaganda of the Rothschild propaganda originates in the city of Toronto.
Well,
and
I want to.
You might want to mention for our American listeners that John Tory is the mayor of Toronto.
Yeah, he's the homosexual mayor of the city of Toronto. It dovetails right into Alec Baldwin, because wasn't Scarlett Johansson wearing a red dress on the red carpet when the wife of the lawyer of the Clinton Foundation walked behind her and disappeared?
Yeah.
And this is the same woman that Alec Baldwin shot to death during the month of Red October.
Yeah.
And Alec Baldwin played Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan in The Hunt for Red October, which is the first movie that they made of Tom Clancy's novels.
And I think it's
Jack
interesting.
Ryan, of course, is based on the great Dr. Steve Pieczenik, who is also another great American hero. And if you ever hear this, Dr. Pieczenik, the greatest honor I ever had in this whole industry, not the greatest, but one of them was that you were my 14th follower on Twitter. I was really jazzed by that.
Maybe we might want to talk about how we speculate that this is going to get fixed. I think what popped into my head was the last issue of George magazine. And what's on it, and what's it talking about? It's talking about 20 years in the future, and if JFK is alive, JFK Jr. is alive. He signaled all that on the cover of that magazine, which you might want to